Let's
The first
go!
question you guys asked was, will you remove persistence? Let's see what they had to say.
We're not removing persistence just yet, but we are making some pretty significant changes to it very soon. For starters, while you'll still be able to keep your score streak progression after death, you'll now need to choose 3 specific score streaks to apply persistence to. All score streaks will be placed into one of 3 different scoring buckets: low, medium, and high. The UAV would be an example of a low-cost score streak, and the Chopper Gunner would be an example of a high-cost score streak. We're also changing persistence from being a red category perk to a blue category perk.
Next up, will there ever be more major tournaments in COD Mobile outside of just one per year?
So for right now, we're focusing a bit more on some one-off tournaments and events similar to our Battle Royale World's Invitational or Throwback Throwdown from last year, to go along with, of course, our World Championship programming for this year. So keep an eye out for that stuff. It's going to be awesome.
Next thing you asked was, what are some updates and features that COD Mobile content creators can look forward to in the future?
I like this one.
Next thing you asked was, what's the hardest thing about designing a new character in COD Mobile?
I think the hard part with designing a new operator is just this character needs to live and have a lifespan in the game. We need to be able to have more skins for this character going forward. We want a strong narrative, and they have to fit in with the broader scope of all the operators that we have, right? So we have an existing kind of longtime fan favorite with Gunzo. Gunzo's got a plethora of skins. He's one of my favorite character designs and operators in the game. Super fun to work with, but we can't have just like a multitude of clown type characters, right? So we think about, how does this character fit into what is their hook? What is interesting about them in particular? We write a narrative about them. We think about the story and who they are, and get details about their personality. And, what faction are they aligned with, and how can they fit in with the narrative that we're trying to tell? Can we write them into the comic narrative that we're trying to tell? How can we tell a story, a grander story for this character's evolution, for example like Templar? As far as the easiest part about designing new operators, I would say there really isn't an easy part about it. I think the easiest part is once we've watched the operator, to be honest, and we can see the fans' reaction to it, and it's just amazing to see how what fans do and their reaction to something that we spend so much time and thought and effort put into it, over the span of like 8 months. And then we watch this content and it's out in the wild, and we get to see everyone's reaction to it. And that's probably the easiest part of the job, is just seeing how it performs and how people react to it. The positive reactions is great.
Next, you guys asked, what's your favorite operator in the game?
Favorite operator in the game? I'm going to go with Spectre.
My favorite operator is Helen Park's Glam skin. She's been my favorite operator since she came out in Black Ops Cold War, and I was super excited when we finally added her to COD-M.
I like all of our unique to Call of Duty mobile operators the best, but my favorite of these has to be Ether.
My favorite operator is Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dizzle, reporting for duty.
Next up, you guys asked, what's your approach when it comes to balance changes for different guns and perks in the game? And with the new signature attachments, what's the thought process behind adding them, and can we look forward to more in the future seasons?
When evaluating the strength of a gun, we not only look at the pick rate and the KD ratio, but also have more detailed data such as headshot rates, KD ratio at different distances, to assist us in making decisions in all aspects. So when doing the analysis, we will look at the performance of the gun in each mode, which is of course a challenge. We may strengthen some very weak gun in hardpoint, which leads to this gun being too powerful in search and destroy and frontline modes.
For BR players, Call of Duty Mobile has really taken their game up to stage 2 over the past year. What are some big changes that we can look forward to in the next year for Call of Duty Mobile BR?
What we hear the most from our BR players when we talk to them about what they'd like to see is more variety in the gameplay that takes place on the map. And so what we're doing is looking to pair our new BR content with major holidays or our Battle Pass season themes.
Hi COD-M dev team, I have 2 questions that relate to zombies. First question is, will we get round-based zombies maps like we had a few seasons ago with Shinonuma? And secondly, would it be possible to add Takio's voice? I know Tom Kane was forced into an early retirement, but would he be okay with synthesizing his voice for use in the game? It feels off having Dempsey, Richtofen, and Nikolai, but not having Takio. Thanks.
I know we have a lot of hardcore Zombies fans out there. We are looking at bringing the classic version of Zombies back to our game, the version that's currently live in the version in China. It's not quite as simple as just flipping a switch. It is a lot more complex than that, but it is something that we're looking at. As far as Takeo's voice, we don't have any plans right now to bring those characters back into the game, but that is a really interesting idea about synthesizing his voice.
Guns and weapons are always getting buffed and nerfed. How do you guys decide how much a weapon needs to get buffed or nerfed, or even whether it needs to happen at all?
The core goal of our gun balance is to have more guns on the field. So you can see that while we continue to design new guns, we are also continuing to buff old ones. And the number of enhancements are gradually increasing. We want a player to use their favorite weapons without getting frustrated by the gaps between guns. Since our goal is to get more weapons on the field, pick rate is a key indicator.
Makes sense.
Greetings, dev team. My question is, what are the game's future plans to maintain stable competition for Call of Duty Mobile with so many new games entering the competition this year? Bye, and convey my greetings to Ghost.
That's a big question. The mobile shooter market grows bigger every year, and it's important for us to continue to look at what makes our game fun and fair. And I think that means looking at the specific needs of our various player groups within the game, that meaning multiplayer, battle royale, and ranked. For multiplayer, I think that's going to look like an increased focus on weapon balancing and trying new modes to keep the experience fresh. We were really excited to see the early positive reception of Ground War, and we look forward to improving it even more in the future. For Battle Royale, I think that means you'll continue to see new and thematic gameplay that evolves the BR experience overall. Sometimes that'll be tied to our Battle Pass season themes, and sometimes that'll be tied to major holidays.
So are you guys considering plans to optimize the game's storage size by maybe adjusting some of the file sizes for different characters and weapons?
So this is something we are looking to add some new features to try to optimize the content that is on the device, to try to sort of reduce the size of the footprint. But the best thing that you can do here is to look in the download manager, because there are lots of tools in there where you can delete content that you're not using to reduce the amount of space that the game is taking up on your phone. And that's really the best options that we have right now for players to take advantage of.
What exactly is your guys' dev team experience on a day-to-day basis? How does the dev team come up with ideas about the game and then make it happen in the game?
So on a day-to-day basis, I usually start off in the morning, I come in and I look at how the game's been performing over the last day. And then, I also like to spend some time during the day going and reading comments from players that I see online, whether it's like on Reddit or reviews, to try to get a sense of what it is that our players are looking for and any issues that they're currently having, to make sure that we get those on our roadmap. And then at the end of the day, we usually end up having calls with the development team at TiMi in China, since it'll be the start of their day right at the end of our day, to make sure that we're all in sync about what it is we're trying to accomplish further down the road.
When it comes to new season, generally the team will come up with system things first, because we believe having a strong theme that can kick off a new season can bring some new visual elements, like our current Red Coat Raid season. The key visual is very called for, which is a little different from what we usually do. And also we extend the theme elements to make the gameplay experience to the game. Once we have some solid theme ideas, we will run player surveys because we like to hear feedback from players all over the world. After we locked the design, the engineers will do the magic and make it work in the game. We will have many rounds of play test with the team, make sure everything's working, make sure the mode is fun enough to play, and more importantly, there are no bugs.
Thanks everyone for submitting your questions. We're excited to see the future of COD Mobile.